Hello, my name is Ramona McKee with QuickToStitch.com.
I'm Reagan Dickinson with Graphics Pro.
This is Charlie Calvey. You're listening to Two Regular Guys podcast.
Hosted by Terry Combs RG, Regular Guy, and Aaron Montgomery.
The place to be for industry news.
The best dad jokes on earth, along with relevant topics to apparel decorators.
Prepare for the wow.
All right, welcome into the show. It is Friday, January 31st, 2025. I'm Terry Combs. You can find me at terrycombs.com.
And I'm Aaron Montgomery from our Success Group, and we get to guide business owners to more clarity and confidence in their business at our Success Group. And Two Regular Guys is certainly a part of that, Terry, because training and education are pillars of what we do. And today we're going to get some more training and education. We're going to welcome back our friends Cris and Greg from Insta Graphics. And we're going to be talking about outsourcing DTF and the tools that you need to be successful with that. So obviously coming back from Long Beach there, Terry, DTF was probably all the rage, all the talk. So this is a very timely topic, I would say.
Absolutely. And, Aaron, at the end of the show, we're not doing secret sauce, but instead, we're actually going to do a little update on the Impressions Expo out in Long Beach here at the end of the show. And of course, before we went on air, I picked the brains of our guests a little bit about their thoughts as well. So We'll have a little conversation, catch you up since you weren't there. Eric was at the show speaking, but we'll talk a little bit about my impressions of impressions.
There you go. Huh, okay. Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to it. I appreciate that. I'm living vicariously through you here, Terry. And speaking of Eric, he is down for the count. I must have picked up something there in Long Beach. So it's been going around because I wasn't in Long Beach and we've had it kind of in our family here. So I know there's some funk heading around the country a little bit, but hopefully everybody is out there healthy and safe and all that stuff. And so Doug said it was nice seeing you, Terry, at Long Beach. So
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I walked into one of Dane Clement's seminars before it started, chit-chatting, and Doug was sitting right there in like the second row. So awesome. Good to see you there, Doug.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, so we've got Marcia Derryberry from Screen Printing Magazine joining us today as well. And she's going to bring us a little bit of news here, some happenings. She's been traveling about herself. And so excited to hear what they're seeing over there at Screen Printing Magazine. So you ready for that, Terry?
Absolutely. I saw Marcia for about 28 seconds at the show. So let's spend a little more time.
Awesome. Love it.
Good morning, regulators. Hey, y'all, how was Long Beach? Love it. Favorite show of the year. Getting huge. And as Terry said, this is so relevant what I'm talking today about DTF because, of course, it was everywhere. But also, did you guys notice the influx of new apparel companies, fashion lines, new basic lines, lots of new fabrications, sustainability? It was really, really cool. Like Terry said, man, I miss so many of you. I had back-to-back meetings because my colleague couldn't go. And so I really kind of only got to about one-third of the show. So sorry I missed all of you. But anyway, my topics are relevant. You can find them at screenprintingmag.com. They both have to do with DTF. The first thing is our friends at DuPont have entered the DTF ink and film market with their Artistry P160 direct-to-film pigment set and their DTF 120 film. They have been a leader in inkjet inks for years with their ink products. So they were exhibiting at Long Beach. They were displaying this Artistry digital inks and its offers for textile applications, highlighting the gamut of expanding inks to the Artistry P1600 direct-to-film pigment ink sets. This series ideal for printers demanding consistency, high productivity, and vibrant colors on a variety of fabrics. And then they had the DTF 120 film, which is a transfer film specifically developed for DTF printing applications, and it supports a wide variety of apparel and specialty applications. It includes DuPont's full application of technical support and was designed to work with both hot peel and cold peel methods and delivers vibrant colors with a dry touch. So that's something to check out. It's on our website under products at screenprintingmag.com. And then the super exciting thing, if y'all are friends with me on Facebook, you followed along with Marcia Does Milan, which was my little biopic essay of my 18 hours in Italy, the only time I've ever been. But I was so honored to have been invited as part of the international media over to Italy at the behest of Roland DG, our friends there. So this one is called Roland Race Cars and Rad New Equipment, a printing combination. This is going to be up on our website today. They wanted us to break the news to the U.S. market. So, in my many years of being an editor in this industry, I've gotten to do some pretty cool things, but this was pretty cool. So we all rode the bus the morning we were there. And of course, I'm the only one on the planet, obviously, who had no idea where we were going. They also had a bunch of their top European dealers there. So they took all of us that morning. They had are a sponsor of an Italian Formula One racing team called Alpine. So they took us to the meeting, which was held, let me not mess this up, Autodromo Nazionale di Monza. It's best known for the Grand Prix motor racing circuit, which also hosts the Formula One Italian Grand Prix. And Monza, as most everyone knows, except me, obviously, is where Formula One racing got its start in the 20s. So that was really super cool. We got to do all kinds of cool stuff. Read it when it posts on the website because at the bottom there's a really cool slideshow about a lot of the meeting, the new machines, but also some stupid, what I thought was funny pictures of me acting like the media because we had full access to the media room, the winner's circle, so I got to hold up the trophy like I won, the starting line. So it was super, super cool. But the most important stuff is the new equipment. And so we're finding that DTF is working its way into the wide format, high production digital printing market, as PSPs are also finding ways to diversify their business by doing high production runs of DTF transfers with cutters and plotters inside of them, not plotters, with cutters, and are selling them as transfers to apparel decorators in large quantities. So it is called the TY300 direct to film. And it's a production transfer machine. So it's now available across Europe, debuted in Japan in September, and is coming to the States very quickly. It delivers exceptional image quality, productivity, and cost performance with rich colors and precise details that are honored to meet the demand of this apparel industry, which, as you guys know, is burgeoning more and more every year. It's equipped with newly engineered print heads, true rich color, and that's one of their proprietary things, has 3 settings. It gives a smooth, natural finish, and it offers 2 white high-density inks that provide optimal results on various fabric types. Um, to complement this, it provides a dedicated DFT shaker and efficient curing. Then also for wide format printers out there that do like signage, interior wall coverings, floor installations, car wraps, those kinds of things, outdoor installations. I'm also editor-in-chief of Big Picture magazine. So they are introducing a new upgrade of their TrueViz, and this is the TrueViz XP640. And it's a flagship large format printer series. It's actually a 64-inch EcoSolvent inkjet printer. Has unmatched image quality and productivity. Advanced high-speed data control technology, and newly designed dual staggered print heads. So it ejects finer ink droplets at higher density and speed. This combines maximum performance while achieving stunning high-definition image quality. So check those things out. Both actually will be on bigpicturemag.com as well as screenprintingmag.com. I just have to say, in honor of all of us that are weeping because we miss college football, go Bulldogs. But I know Terry and I right now are on fire about our Kansas Jayhawks basketball. Y'all keep watching and don't forget my Dallas Stars. See y'all 3 weeks. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Marcia. That was awesome. Appreciate all of the updates and exciting to hear. I can't wait to go check out the slideshow over there at screenprintingmag.com and see her escapades in Italy there.
Yeah, absolutely. Or 18 hours. Only Marcia, after decades in the media, would be saying, and I was there pretending to be media.
Yeah. If anybody's media, it's Marcia. All right.
Exactly.
I love it. All right, Terry. Well, the other area that we have to, I feel like we have to now at this point. I almost feel like it's our obligation to bring the dad joke. Do you feel that?
I feel it too, Aaron.
Okay. All right. Good. I want to make sure I wasn't the only one.
And I'm feeling this dad joke.
I am too. This is very, very good, Terry. This is Terry bringing us the dad joke. So if you're ready, I'll lead us in here.
All right. I'm ready. All right, Aaron. I'm trying to keep with the seasons here. So
Okay.
what did the scientist say to his girlfriend on Valentine's Day?
I don't know, Terry. What did the scientist say to his girlfriend on Valentine's Day?
I think of you periodically.
Without Eric here, I don't know.
Without Eric here shaking his head or thumbs up. It's
yeah. I see some head shaking going on from our guests. So I think it's
all right.
Excellent, Terry.
All right. Before we dive in, we want to thank everybody for checking out the Two Regular Guys podcast. We need your voices still. We had some new voices today. We would love to have the regulators participate in our show intros. So go to decorators.inc/intro, read a few lines and be a part of every show. Don't be left out. And we are always looking for new guests. So if you or anyone you know would like to join us, go to calendly.com/2 regular guys to book a future episode, or email us at info@tworegularguys.com with your show ideas. If you're listening to the podcast version of the show, we would appreciate you sharing the Two Regular Guys podcast with all of your industry friends so they can become regulators too. We would appreciate you giving us a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon Podcast, YouTube Podcast. Wherever you do your podcast listening, we are there. And if you're listening live, please join in and with your comments and your questions for our guest today.
Excellent. Yes, for sure. And looking forward to hearing from all the regulars out there. We've got two amazing people that are amazing resources for our industry here. So make sure that you guys are jumping in there with your questions or comments. Speaking of our regulars jumping in, we already got to talk to Doug, but Rena Cooper is checking in, and she was out there in Long Beach as well. So hopefully everybody had a great time out there. So I can't wait for your recap at the end as well, Terry. So,
all right.
All right. Well, are you ready to bring our guests in, Terry?
I am. Let's bring them in.
All right. Awesome. So bringing on to the program, we've got Cris and Greg from Insta Graphics. So welcome into the show today, you two. Everybody doing good today?
Doing well. Thank you so much for having us.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. Well, guys, we gave up a while ago on the whole bio thing. We realized that, you know what, we just want to get to know our guests real quickly here. So we always just ask, tell us a little bit about yourself, maybe a little history, a little 101. So Cris, will you start us off, kind of give people a little background on you?
Absolutely. So I'm Cris Saunders, like Aaron and Terry know from Insta Graphic Systems. I've been in the industry about 3 decades. I started with Insta as the CEO's assistant and have held various jobs there. Wow. Currently, I'm Director of Sales and Marketing, really focusing in the machine division, but do market both products.
Okay.
Insta has been in business for over 65 years. We're known for our heat seal equipment and our custom transfers. We manufacture and sell worldwide our products to large brands, focusing on quality, reliability. We're one of the only people in the industry that has a total solution. If you're in Japan, if you're in China, if you're in Bangladesh, you have a problem with our transfer, you have our machine. We can problem solve whatever it is. And that's one of our competitive advantages.
That's awesome.
Selling both. But I've been to many shows. I'm sure I've seen many of you that are on the podcast today, and we really appreciate this opportunity to talk a little bit about Insta.
Yeah, absolutely.
Greg
Cool.
has been with us. I'll let him tell you a little bit about himself, but he's been with us 3+ years. Super addition to our team. We pride ourselves in really excellent customer service. The customer's number one, getting back to our customers, providing them with any information and that value added. Not only is it important that you sell, but it's all the extra that you give. And companies somehow forget about that. But go ahead, Greg.
Yeah, so it's almost 4 years now, Cris. Believe it or not, it's close. But so my background is actually in wholesale fashion. I've sold watches, eyewear, apparel, footwear, all that good stuff to retailers. And like a lot of folks in that industry, the pandemic kind of shook things up for me, and I got laid off. And I was looking for something, and Cris and Insta found me and reeled me in and brought me into the print industry. So selling heat presses. So it's been an awesome experience so far. Met a lot of really great people in this industry. I really like the industry a lot, and like Cris said, it's great working for a company like Insta, selling a high quality product. There are some things that make selling easier when it's a high quality product, So yeah.
Yeah, for sure. It sells itself, right?
Well, yeah, you sound like a salesman. So that's you're correct. It is good to have a quality product that you can be proud of. And Cris, I my screen printing classes that that I teach, and I always say, listen, here's the deal on heat presses: buy one of these, don't buy anything else. And obviously, Insta is one of those. So most of our listeners, or maybe it's just me, know Insta for heat presses. So let's start there. Cris, tell us a little about the history of Insta in the heat press world.
So, like I said before, Insta is 65 years old plus. We started as a company. Our founder, Herbert Wells, was an ink manufacturer, and he bought a company and then developed the heat seal equipment from that. So we manufacture an array of heat seal equipment, from a manual to cap press to automatics, and now our new dual shuttle, which is really specifically designed for automation and high production, which is perfect for the topic we're talking about today for DTF. It's been extremely well received in the marketplace. Insta is known for the best in heat recovery, but consistent heat and pressure throughout the machinery. As we know, we had an influx of a lot of out-of-the-country machinery, and it didn't help the industry because people weren't educated of what you really need for a heat press. And Insta is probably the leader in the industry worldwide. Our partners sell our equipment. We are lucky to have them as partners. They too use it as a tool to make sure that their transfers work every day, 24/7, with the right heat seal equipment. Do you have anything to add to that?
Hey, Greg, with your 4 years selling the product, do you have any comment about Insta in the heat press world?
Yeah, so like Cris said, I mean, we've been doing this a really, really long time. I've been doing it 4 years, but Insta's been doing it 65 plus years. So we have that wealth of knowledge built up too. That's another thing that we offer our customers is we have in-house R&D and folks that have, like Cris, that have been in the industry for 30 plus years. So if there's like a unique application, or they're having an issue with a particular type of fabric or transfer, something like that. I actually was just talking to somebody yesterday about that. We offer in-house testing and things like that too. So that's kind of an adjacent thing, besides the quality of the actual press. That's kind of a nice thing we offer our customers from a quality standpoint. I guess like a customer service quality standpoint, you would say. We have such a long history and all that knowledge built up for 65 plus years that we can offer our customers and help them find unique solutions and things like that. So.
Yeah. So you don't think that $295 Amazon heat press, they'll do that for me?
If you could get somebody on the phone with that, I would be very surprised. But
I called them at midnight. They were working.
Come on, Terry, you got that technical knowledge. You can get it fixed.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, for me, so I've been in the space for 24 years now. I actually, with Super Bowl coming up here, I remember driving from Colorado to Arizona to come work in this space with the Super Bowl playing on the radio. So I always kind of remember that. But so I got more introduced to heat presses probably midway through my time in the industry. I didn't have a lot of experience with heat presses up until that point. And I remember one of the first conversations I had with somebody was them telling me that they had a heat press that they used every day for 30 years and it still works great. And I'm like, well, which one is that? And they said an Insta. And I was like, oh, and I hadn't that was my introduction to Insta. So, I definitely understand the quality aspect of it. But again, I know we've kind of made light of the $295 Amazon press, but why is that foundational heat press so important to the listeners out there? Why does that matter? Right? Like I can just buy several, $295 presses and then, just throw them away kind of thing. Cris, what say you?
Great question. And you can have the best transfer. You can have the most expensive substrate, jacket, t-shirt, whatever you want. But if you don't have a quality heat press, you do not have the perfect impression or final result. So heat, time, pressure, how you peel that or don't peel it, integral. So if you do not have those key ingredients dialed in, it's not going to matter how great your transfer is or how great your DTF machine or DTG machine or your press vinyl is, period. Like Aaron said, our customers really sell our equipment in the booth. They come by, I've had it 30 years. It's the best investment I ever had. They don't talk back to me, so it's my girlfriend. I mean, it's hysterical what they say. It really is. We love it. But no matter what in the industry, do yourself a favor and buy a quality product. Buy the best heat press. It's not going to be the cheapest, but I'm telling you, it's going to be your best investment, long-term investment.
Yeah.
I tell people all the time, I said, here's the benefit of it all. 20 years from now, you'll still have that heat press. And so, and so many businesses, they spend $15,000, $20,000, $30,000 on equipment, and then they have a weak link of a $295 heat press. And I tell people, you know what? Throw it away. Go buy a good quality heat press. Because it's going to impact your business. All those people that say, "Hey, our business failed because of the economy." No, it failed because your product washed out, and nobody came back to buy from you because of. You know what? I'm going to stop talking because heat presses are a big soapbox item for me.
Gets Terry really fired up.
I get really fired up about heat presses.
You're on our side.
Yes,
exactly right.
Well, okay. So as we're talking here, right? Obviously, we understand that the heat press is crucial because of the things that Cris mentioned, right? You're going to be ruining products. You're going to be ruining perfectly good transfers. You're going to having all those things. But obviously, you guys, as you've explained here, are more than just the heat press. I know you guys have been involved in screen printing transfers for a long time, but talk about direct to film production. maybe Greg, you could speak to this a little bit. How did that come about? Where are you guys at in that space right now?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, like you mentioned, we've been screen printing heat transfers throughout our 65 plus year history, and our founder Herbert Wells actually was a pioneer in that space. And some of the technologies that people take for granted in that space today, he was the first one to do. So a lot of people don't know that about Insta. It's kind of cool, I think. But so we were kind of part of the development of the modern screen printed heat transfer. But so what, probably right around the time I started, 4 years ago, DTF was really starting to pick up. It had kind of been out a little bit before that, I think. I think it's like 10 years or so that it's really been out, but it's started to really pick up at that time. And obviously we looked at that and we said, people are going to need heat press machines to apply the transfers. And we're like, great opportunity for us, right? We make heat press machines. So that was kind of the start of our, I guess, R&D into that space. And we have an in-house R&D team, and we started doing testing, and we started working with our partners who were developing DTF systems and testing transfers for them and things like that.
Yeah.
And so we've gotten a kind of a lot of a background knowledge on it that way. And recently we started working on developing our own DTF transfer. And I guess for me, DTF transfers are the same as screen printed heat transfers in terms of that it comes down to the ingredients for how high quality they are. So you have the ink, you have the quality of your white, you have the quality of your adhesive, you have the quality of whatever system you're printing it on, whether it's a screen printing system or it's a DTF printer. Mm-hmm. And then you also have the knowledge of the people who are running that process, right? So for us, we everything we offer, we try to offer at the highest quality point, and that's the same thing that we're working on. We haven't released a DTF product for sale yet. We hopefully are going to be doing that pretty soon, but we want to make sure we have it like completely dialed in to where we can put the Insta name on it and be like, this is the best DTF transfer you can buy. This is the highest quality. It's going to last the longest. It's going to have the best hand, all that good stuff. So that's kind of where we're at right now with it.
Awesome.
Yeah. But it's great because it's opened up a real new market for us for our heat presses, and the partnerships that we have with some manufacturers, as Terry and Aaron know, have really helped us with the sale of our equipment, and it's worldwide. It's not just in the domestic marketplace. So this has opened up a lot of opportunity for us.
That's awesome.
Well, a lot of people are jumping into this. A lot of people don't have any idea what they're doing. So we've got our great heat press. We've got our great transfer. What can people do to be more efficient about DTF transfers? Cris, what you want to start with that one?
I think for me, because like Greg said, we've done a lot of R&D work on all the equipment. Know the equipment that you're looking at. You can have equipment. It's all pretty much does the same thing. But the key is the ink, the film you're using, the shakers. It's really, that's your variable. And that has to produce, like Greg said, the best quality transfer. So is your machine only able to use a specific ink, powder, film? Be knowledgeable about what you're buying and ask the questions to the manufacturer. Like we tell anybody that buys a heat press, our press will press anything. It will do the final. But you have to bring the best transfer. And that you have to ask your questions to the manufacturer.
All right.
Yeah. I mean, it's so interesting. Like what you say, the press will do anything. Because I spent a lot of time also in the sublimation is like my jam. I love sublimation, but people don't realize really, again, how important the heat press is to that. But we're talking about DTF here. so I don't get myself off track. Shiny object I saw in my brain, but I want to know from you guys, what does separate a transfer for, a provider, for example. Like you guys mentioned some of the partnerships that you have with the manufacturers and the people that offer your equipment. What are you seeing that separates one good DTF transfer provider from the next?
So I think a couple of things I see for maybe the lesser quality ones would be the whites are not opaque. So you get whites that are, dull, or maybe like the color of the shirt is even kind of coming through the white a little bit or something like that. The quality of like the adhesives they're using, and that lends to the hand. Certain adhesives have like a really heavy hand, and that's where you see those DTF prints where it just almost feels like vinyl on the shirt, kind of.
Yeah.
And then the peel is important, especially, Terry mentioned efficiency. If you're worried about being efficient, for a while, almost all the DTF was cold peel, and now that's completely changed, and a lot of people have hot peel now, which saves you time, if it's a hot peel. And then I guess the support, if you're buying like a whole DTF system, right? You're not outsourcing the transfers. You're going to buy the system and you're going to print them in house. You need to make sure the partner you're working with is going to be able to give you ideally in-person support, but at minimum, some kind of video support or something like that when things go wrong. Because it is still kind of a little bit, a lot of big names are getting into DTF now, but it is still kind of a little bit like the Wild West, and some of the RIP softwares and all this stuff. It's like they might not even have a manual in English or something like that. Sometimes, it just depends. So you need to make
use the translation program. Those are my favorite.
That too. Yeah. So you just need to make sure that you're getting in with a partner who's really going to support you on the equipment. That's true of any equipment you buy.
Sure. No, that's great.
Yeah, Greg, it's funny when you say that, because I talk to so many people who say, well, when I started out, I bought a machine directly from China. And so now you're calling me, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm sure you guys get that all the time. Well, okay, so keeping on the path of DTF here and the transfers, I think what's made it such the rage and the hit is the versatility that it seems to offer. But I guess when everybody's kind of all excited about it, we sometimes forget to understand what the limitations are when it comes to kind of application substrates you can go on to. What are you guys seeing there? Are there any things that what are the limitations, and I guess what do you guys see in the future to address some of those challenges? Cris, I'll start with you.
Okay, thanks. As we know, there's a lot of yoga wear, active wear in the industry.
Yeah.
Right now, I don't know of a machine that has what we call a bleed blocker that eliminates the colors from coming through, which you would need, some kind of another station or something to prevent that. So your workwear, anything in yoga wear, active wear that is a dark color, red, especially green, terrible. You don't have that. So there are limitations, and I'm sure with the evolution, it's coming quickly because people want to be able to print on all substrates, not just the lights. And polyester is a difficult one, as we know. But I think something else about the DTF marketplace is we are in a world of customization. There's no question about it. And this allows you to print one transfer quick with your name, the school. And this is really the evolution I think the industry is in. How do you provide quickly this custom product? And I'm going to talk about this maybe at the end when we talk about the recap of ISS Long Beach. Honestly, I didn't see sublimation I didn't see heat transfer vinyl. I didn't see stock transfers, color copy, a couple of booths. That used to be our industry. And a lot of that is gone, and now it's into this DTF. So did that answer a couple of your questions, Aaron?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's, it makes it very clear. Thank you.
Hey,
Greg,
let's-
anything to add?
I would add a couple things if you don't mind.
Please.
To the limitations of DTF. So specialty inks are also a challenge, which we can do with screen printed heat transfers. We do silicone inks, we do reflective inks, we do puff inks. You know, some people do inks with shimmer and stuff like that. And I know people are working on this for DTF, and I think it'll probably eventually, some of those at least will eventually get there. I don't know about silicone going through those print heads, but it's not there right now.
Yeah.
And then, you know, like Cris said, you know, dye migration for like sublimated polyesters, as far as I know, nobody's offering that in DTF, blocking that in DTF either.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. That's awesome. Cool.
Yeah, which means, you know, as always, there's a place for all these different decoration methods, you know. And 20 years ago, Aaron and I, you know, worked with Scott Fresner, and Scott would tell us screen printing classes, screen printing is going to be gone in 3 years. And I would stand there because I actually taught the class. I'd say, no, that's not right. This is screen print's not going anywhere. And about 10 years ago, Scott came up to me at a show and he goes, you know, all those years ago that I said screen printing was gone, you were right and I was wrong. I just wanted to tell you that.
Man.
But it's still the same today.
Go ahead.
Another thing to think about, you know, right now it's not the quickest deal, and the automation of it for large production is coming very quickly. You see those machines of those large companies that we've talked about previously, and they are automating this process, that it's not just for 10, 12, 20 transfers. It's going to be for your long production runs, as well as we're seeing, you know, actual manufacturers of product that are going to bring this in-house, much like what happened with the DTG. And we saw it in the retail marketplace. Behind that curtain in store XYZ was a DTG, and they were producing on spot.
Yeah, exactly right.
It's really revolutionized both DTG and DTF, this marketplace, this industry.
Yeah.
You know, one of our listeners just asked this question. It's kind of along those lines. Dan asked, do you have plans for more automated carousel type heat presses for either of you to respond to?
I'll take this one. Okay. We don't right now, and we have looked into that pretty extensively, and I'll tell you the reason why. So we make a dual shuttle at this time that's fully automated. So it cycles back and forth on its own, and one operator can load and unload both sides, depending on your dwell time, you know. But you can also set it to wait. If you have a really short dwell time for some reason and they need more time, you can set it to wait and then push the button. But the reason why we haven't developed a carousel yet is because they're not faster on a per operator basis. And I've talked to a whole bunch of operators about this who have actually sat down and done the math and done the calculations. And they're like, yeah, they're not faster. So I know there's some stuff that's coming out where there's like some air powered things that are doing the peel and stuff like that for you. And it's possible that those could eventually be faster. From what I've seen, they don't always work that great. And that's just what I've seen. But we're keeping our eye on it. And it's a possibility that at some point, some of that could become faster. The other challenge with the carousel press is at Insta, we are known for even heat and pressure. And you don't get even heat and pressure with those platens that are out on those little skinny arms sticking out from the machine. You need a support directly underneath it, and you need a swing away platen that is on a very stable arm that's coming straight down. So I think it's a possibility for sure in the future that we would be developing that. But from what the research we've done so far, it's not faster. They're incredibly expensive. And on a per operator basis, you're much better off just getting, say you were going to get a huge one of those huge carousels that requires 3 operators, you can get 3 dual shuttle machines for less cost and achieve the same or maybe even more volume. So.
Yeah, as a production floor guy myself too, when I see those, I always think footprint on my floor.
Yeah.
There's only a limited amount of space. So go ahead, Cris. You were going to comment about that.
No, Terry, exactly. And Greg, great answer. I trained you really well.
That's right.
The footprint of a carousel plus the safety of it. I mean, at any time somebody can get in there in between while that carousel is moving. And we have put extensive safety features in our dual shuttle. A hand, an arm, anything that goes in there. That machine is off. That carousel's going around. You cannot be watching that every 2 seconds. And the manpower for the dual shuttle is 1 person, not 2, not 3.
If a production floor employee can get an arm or their body where it's not supposed to be, they will do it.
Exactly.
So,
yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, Ramona asked this, and I think kind of what we're talking about here. When you need reheat time for the press, every time you press, you dissipate heat, and you have to bring the tent back up for the next press. I don't necessarily think you guys see that in your presses, but anybody want to take a stab at that one there?
Yeah, that's actually
go ahead.
Well, that's what I think Cris mentioned it earlier in the show, but that's one of the things Insta is known for is we have the fastest heat recovery in the industry. So you don't have to wait. I will say with our dual shuttle, we recommend before you start production that you just let it run for about 10 minutes because that'll get the controller and the platen kind of in sync with each other, and because it does dissipate a little bit of heat every time it hits the platen. That's true. It goes into your substrate and it goes into the lower platen.
Yeah.
But the other advantage actually heat wise of a dual shuttle over a carousel is that the lower platens stay warmer. So with a carousel, you might have 4 platens and 1 upper platen, just as an example. Sometimes there's 2 uppers and 6, whatever it might be. Either way, those platens are getting colder as they cycle around. Whereas with a dual shuttle, they're being hit more consistently. And the heat of your lower platen actually helps your application quite a bit. So that's one thing. But no, our controllers are designed to keep our upper platen within temperature, even for high volume production. And you can actually set on our dual shuttle a safety. It's not for safety, but like so that you don't mess up your transfer, where you can say, hey, if it ever goes 10 degrees off, the machine stops until it heats back up. But we don't run into that a whole lot. If you are running into that on one of our machines, call us because that probably means there's something wrong and we can get it fixed for you. But yeah.
And those are the kind of things that people don't consider when they're, Amazon shopping. And hey, I don't want to offend anybody Amazon because that guy shows up at my house almost every day. So, don't get me wrong. All hail Amazon.
Presses. He doesn't bring heat presses to Terry's house.
Never delivered a heat press.
Question. Something that was it Ramona that asked the question?
Yeah.
Okay. So when you're looking for a heat press, please ask them. Tell me about your heat platen and your upper element, because ours is a complete cast-in tubular element. There is one element in that heat press. There's not 2 or 3 different areas that your heat will come from. So the cast-in element will come within 2.5 degrees up or down of the temperature. And by far, and it's been tested by somebody very big in the industry, ours came out the best for heat recovery. And that's proprietary of how we manufacture our element.
Love it.
Well, Cris, like we used to say when I lived down south, you're preaching to the choir here. Let's shift gears a little bit. Let's talk about our listeners out there. And so when do you advise customers or let me rephrase that. Would you advise customers to start by outsourcing DTF transfers or take that plunge into buying a DTF printing system? or what's the best time to make that switch? Cris, let's start with you.
I think it's important to look at your business model first. What are you transferring? How much are you transferring? Are you high volume? Are you small, 1, 2, 5, 10? As we know, there are several people in the market producing that final DTF transfer where you can go to. Make sure that they are reputable, providing you with the best quality, because in reality, they represent you. You want to make sure their transfer is great. At some point, you want to take control of that you have in-house control. Are you getting the transfers in a timely manner? Is it a quality product? Et cetera, et cetera.
I like that. Greg, do you have any comments about when people ask you that question? Customers ask you, should I buy transfers? Should I buy a machine?
Yeah, I agree with Cris that it really depends on the business. But to be completely honest, if it was me, if I was going to start a business today, I would outsource all day. And the reason for me is that I know there are people, like I mentioned, for screen printing, heat transfers, DTF, whatever it is, the experience that a company has is like a huge part of the quality that they can achieve. And I know there are people out there who have decades and decades of experience, and they can do the research to get all the very best inks and the very best adhesives and the very best equipment and all this stuff, and have a better ability than me to have a relationship with the manufacturers and stuff like that to get the best of the best. And I don't have, and then on top of that, I don't have to worry about my equipment going down, So I tend to be more on the side of like outsourcing, unless you're really, really, really getting to the point where you're doing tons and tons of volume. You're a big enough company where you can hire in people with this depth of experience where they can get you the best inks and all this stuff and experiment with it and stuff. Then I think it makes sense. But I think it's tough for smaller operators to compete with that kind of quality. You know what I mean? You might as well outsource it. And some people are even shipping these transfers like 2 day or 1 day now and stuff like that. You don't even really have to wait that long,
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I sell equipment, and I tell people all the time, listen, if you doubt how much business you're going to have, there are lots of people who will do this for you while you build your business. You don't have to take the $20,000 plunge. So because build your business and then come back and call me.
Yeah, and cost outsources, because of all of the excitement around it and all the people buying equipment, there is price pressure. So you can get a transfer probably at a lower rate than what it should be as this all kind of levels out here a little bit. So
for sure.
Yeah.
Need
All
to
right.
answer Doug's question too. I believe I missed it in the chat. Do you want me to go to and say that? Are you okay?
Yeah, I told Doug that that'd be a great opportunity to talk to you guys directly too. But anything you want to address there is fine.
Yeah, he's asking for quality between Insta and Hotronics. So Hotronics is a great company. Insta really sells on workmanship, longevity of the machinery in the marketplace, and exactly what we're talking about: heat, pressure, and we no doubt have the best in the industry.
Yeah,
our prices are very comparable, Doug. So give us a call, give Greg or I a call. We'll be happy to go over our equipment with you. There's a reason why the major manufacturers are coming to Insta for partnerships in this marketplace.
Yeah, absolutely. Love it, Cris. Thank you for addressing that for us. All right. So let's do that, Terry. Let's go. Let's see if we can kind of get an update. You were having an opportunity while I was trying to figure out some things in the background to talk to Greg and Cris before we got started about experiences. So go ahead.
Before we let you guys go, just any comments about the ISS show in Long Beach? Cris, I know you have many, many years experience with it, and Doug, not you quite as much, but Cris, what was your take on the Long Beach show?
So it's a great show. It's a really great opener for the year. For Insta, we had a very favorable show. But like I said, what I saw and what I continue to see every show I go to, whether it's in Europe or coming back here, is the demise of some of the markets that used to be there. And that being sublimation, heat transfer vinyl, color copy, and it's being replaced by, the DTG. There is place for color copy, and it's still going strong, but it's not like it used to be, and it's not as prevalent. Number one, automation of equipment at the show. Customization is all over the place. How do you customize? And people are asking that question. DTF is here to stay. It's not going away, but how does that? What other kinds of things, like Greg alluded to, right now it's pretty flat. There's no dimension. There's no effect. How are they going to upgrade to help there? Basically, pretty much what I think, and I just see this industry is very strong. It's extremely strong, and it just opens up so many doors with new products for Insta and for anybody in the manufacturing arena.
Yeah.
I'm very proud to be in this industry.
Very good. Hey, Greg, sorry, I was actually reading Doug's question over there when I said Cris and Doug. But Greg, what was your take on the show after being there a couple of years?
Yes. I think this is my third year doing it. I feel like I'll talk more to kind of like the traffic and the people we saw and stuff like that, because I think Cris really covered the technologies and stuff there, just hit the nail on the head. I felt like the traffic was maybe a little bit less this year than previous years, but I think there's, the fires and stuff going on in Southern California and stuff, and a lot of the crazy weather around the country, I think kind of probably hurt people's travel plans and stuff like that. So I think that's probably why. I don't think it's a reflection of the industry or anything like that. But the folks who did come that we talked to, I think were like really genuinely interested in research and learning and products and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So I think it kind of maybe weeded out some of the casual visitors, some of the weather challenges and stuff. So that was great. A lot of the people we talked to were like genuinely looking to acquire machinery for their business or to find new sources for transfers and things like that. And so we had some really good conversations. And thanks to everyone who came to our booth. It was awesome to see you. So,
well, speaking of that, how can people find more out about Insta, and how can they connect with you, Cris?
So on our website, www.instagraph.com, please go to that. We have a sales at Insta website link that we can answer any questions. We pride ourselves in providing customers any kind of response is within an hour or two, and that's no lie. We get answers to our customers right away. You'll see we have two different, our transfer machinery and our custom heat transfers. So we can provide you with any information. You can also get a quote online for a transfer, putting in your information by product. And Greg and I and our team are always willing to help anybody answer questions. I think that's one thing about Insta, that value added information that we provide is beyond. I'm tooting our horn a little bit, but I really think it's important.
That's okay.
Yeah. If you call us, you'll get us. We don't have any third party customer service lines or anything like that. Our customer service is all based in Southern California in our facility. If you call us, you might not get Cris or I immediately, but you'll get to one of us eventually. So
yeah, I love it. Cool. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for your time here and for sharing all those wonderful bits of information. And I think we can all agree that just go out and buy a good heat press. That's always the great place to start. And now you know where to get them from. So there you go. Awesome. Thank you guys. Appreciate your time today.
Thank
you. Appreciate it.
Fantastic. Super.
Right.
Hey, Sean Stewart had a comment here also when we were talking about outsourcing or buying equipment. And bottom line is it's the math,
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I think that's what I think that's what Greg was also saying, right? Like
Yeah.
it's going to depend, and that depend is the math. But I think sometimes, especially based on what I'm hearing and seeing, is everybody gets kind of caught up in this. Oh, it's a shiny new toy. I need to get that piece of equipment, and that's not necessarily true for everyone. And so, yeah, exactly what Sean says here. He says, outsource until you can justify the purchase. If you build a book of business at some point, you want to bring it in house. It's just simple math. What are you leaving on the table outsourcing? That's the question. And I think that's a really good point. So
100%. It's a lot easier to make that purchase with orders in your back pocket. So
absolutely. Well, before we get to your quick recap here, Terry, we just want to hit some of the things that we've got coming up here before we get to your recap of the Impressions Expo. Does that sound okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll jump in real quick here. So for me coming up here, I'm excited to get back to the DAX shows this year. I just have a special place in my heart for the DAX shows, being that I live in the Midwest here and getting to just interact with people. I love some of the bigger shows for sure. I love getting out to Printing United, but the DAX shows has just got that intimate family feel to it. So I will have 2 sessions at the Kansas City show coming up the February 21st and 22nd. One presentation is called Fast Track Your Success, How to Half the Time to Achieve Your Goals. And that's going to be at 2 p.m. here in at Kansas City. And then on the 22nd, the next day, I'll be talking about how to master pricing for profit. So if you will visit daxshow.com, you can register and get on the show floor at no charge. And then you can add these 2 classes and more out there. And then the other show, I'm still working on the final details, so I don't know exactly the topic. We've got a couple we're bouncing around. I actually put some stuff in my Facebook group and on LinkedIn asking, hey, what would you guys like to hear at the Graphics Pro Expo? But their first show of the year is coming up March 6th through the 8th in Irving, Texas. So if you'll go to graphics-pro-expo.com, you can get all the details and register. And then once I get all those details ironed out, probably by next week's show, Terry, I'll have those for our listeners here. So yeah, spring's already lining up to be busier than I expected, but that's great. A good thing to kind of round out my spring. We are hosting the Summit of Success retreat happening April 10th through the 12th at a beautiful, gorgeous lodge in North Dakota. And if you are a business owner, I really, truly, in my heart, believe that this could be the difference between burnout, struggle, and a challenging year, or your best year yet, because you'll have an opportunity to find more joy and peace and just be more connected to why you started your business. And on top of it, it's going to be an opportunity to kind of recharge before the busy summer season for a lot of decorators. So you're going to enjoy a 3-day, 2-night, all-inclusive registration for only $1,500. It covers your meals, the lodgings, all the sessions. You'll want to sign up for this for sure. There are only 11 rooms available. So if you want to visit osg.link/SOS. If you have questions, reach out to me. I can connect you with my partner who is handling kind of the retreat aspect of it. Or you can ask me if you'd like, and I'm happy to share. I have no desire to have people there that it's not right for them. So this is not a sales opportunity. Just tell me if you're interested and we can talk about it. And I think that's it for me. But what about you, Terry? What's coming up for you here?
Yeah, I'm kind of like you. Well, first, my screen printing business course, I'm going to be in Chicago at Atlas Screen Supply, March 15th and 16th. I'm going to be doing several additions to my list here next week, just like you. So until then, watch my upcoming events at terrycombs.com.
Awesome. Yep. Check that out. Get over there at terrycombs.com for all the latest. Eric is under the weather. So last I saw on social media, no take up today. And let's just all wish him a speedy recovery and health. And so nothing for Eric, but Terry, who did you see out there in Long Beach?
We mentioned earlier, Doug Sobel was in one of the seminars that I just wandered into. to talk to Dane Clement.
Nice.
And Doug was sitting there in the second row, so we got a chance to chat a little bit.
Oh, cool.
Also, Lenny with Vital Signs Northwest in Oregon stopped by the booth, and just to say, hey, I listen to you guys every week. I just wanted to come by and shake your hand. So, Lenny, we appreciate that. We love to hear from you guys at trade shows. So, don't hesitate to come up and say hello. So,
Harry, real quick about Lenny. Yeah, I love Lenny. I've had a chance to meet him in person too. If you don't follow Lenny on Facebook, I would recommend it. He has such great stuff that he shares, so uplifting, so positive. He's really got a lot of things figured out. Their company and Lenny's story is really interesting. He will tell you, don't go steal copyright stuff, by the way. So I'll let him tell that story. But he learned the hard way and now has got a very thriving business. And I think they just moved back to Oregon, actually. So
very nice. Very nice. Well, he seemed very happy when I saw him. So life must be treating him well.
Yeah, he's a good guy for sure. All right. What else do you see out there?
Okay, well, as always, a lot of familiar faces, and of course, our guests today saw them as well. That's a highlight for all of us trade show carnies that travel around, is get to see our industry friends. So that was a lot of fun. Kind of like Greg said, busy but not overwhelming.
Yeah.
And the difference for me was there was a deficit of buyers from outside of Southern California. I think that, and yes, I've talked to some people from Wisconsin, from Michigan, from Minnesota, but a couple of people from New Jersey, but not like in the past. For anybody who doesn't know, most of the trade shows other than Printing United are regional shows. The show in Long Beach is more of a national show. And first of all, it's the first show of the year. So a lot of people go there to see new products. And let's be honest, it's Southern California and it's January. So there are people who go there because it's Southern California in January. But I think, even the folks in California, I had someone my Thursday morning seminar said, she goes, I was a little bit hesitant to drive from Bakersfield because she didn't know what kind of impact the fires had and didn't know if she was going to have any trouble. So, there's Southern California fires and just a horrible, horrible thing for all the folks in that area. And, we certainly feel for them. But it did have an impact. And, just like our guest said, I don't think it had anything to do with the industry. It was just the timing and the location of the event. Yep. A lot of DTF conversations. It was kind of funny, Aaron. It's almost like people don't know how to compare. So the question is this: what print head do you have in that machine? And that's the only point of comparison. And then, of course, we're still on the misinformation highway. Most DTF printers have the i3200 print head in it. That's an Epson print head. And then, of course, somebody came out and said, or do you have the better i1600? Well, guess what? The i1600 is still a good print head, but it is a lesser print head than the i3200, not a better one. So the misinformation out there is people going, oh, our print head is better. It's this number instead of that number. So, it's 20 years ago in selling DTG printers, Aaron. It's you spend a little bit of time correcting misinformation, and maybe I shouldn't even. Yeah, I'm going to say this anyway. Epson introduced their new Epson brand DTF printer to less than thunderous acceptance, and it was. I think part of it was that the information that it was going to be at the show. We had one in our booth, but the information was embargoed until the first day of the show. So people didn't come there thinking, "Hey, I'm going to see it," and then it's almost like they didn't get it. You know what the question was? What print head is in that printer? So anyway, I'm gonna go back to our what do we want to see in 2025? And remember, I talked about all the confusion about DTF printing. This was the perfect example of it. Just people not quite getting it. So at Equipment Zone, we're kind of regrouping on reintroducing that product ourselves. Lots of new companies, just like Marcia said, new garment companies. There were equipment companies there. One of them had a big sign above their booth that said best support, best machine, best everything. And I'm looking around talking to people I know in the industry, and I said, have you ever heard of these guys? And everybody was like, never. I've never seen them before. I'm not certain how they are the best support, the best machine, best everything else, when not a soul that I know in the industry had ever heard of them before. But apparently you can put anything on a sign, Aaron.
It's like Elf, the best coffee in all of New York.
Yes, you did it.
You should have totally done
the booth and said, "You did it. Best support. Who are you guys?"
That's awesome.
But just like with our guests, I talked to a lot of vendors after, and how was the show for you? And it was a lot of we'll see. We'll see over the next few weeks how it was. So, Aaron, and you and I've been working that show for, I think together 25 years. And that show was always the springboard into the new year.
Yeah. And
it just lost a little spring this year. Not the fault of anybody at Impressions Expo, just circumstances. So, anyway, it's I think it was probably a good show. It wasn't the show we were all hoping for, but as I said, not the fault of anybody at Impressions Expo, just circumstances. So I think we're going to we're all going to spring off at an upcoming event. So, Aaron, there were again industry merger rumors floating around the show and around the internet lately again. So we exclusively next week, one of the key players in one of those merger rumors is going to be joining us on the show at the top of the show next week to give us the facts, the real facts on what's happening with a couple of companies in the industry. And stay tuned on the who, what, and why next week.
Absolutely. And then after that, we'll kind of bring our opinions, thoughts, because we have seen it for sure, and then we're hearing it for sure. And so what does that mean, right? I think for our listeners out there, it can bring a little consternation. It can bring a little concern about where the industry's headed. And so we'll try to give our take. And honestly, we want to hear your guys' take. What does this mean for you guys in the industry and how that all looks and feels? So, we want to get a couple of the comments that were here. Doug said my embroidery toolkit class had probably a fifth of the attendance of last year, kind of what you're talking about there. And then he did follow that up, though. No excuse about the fires. He had to evacuate the first Thursday because of the Kenneth fire. So, he still made it to the show. So good on you, Doug. American Print and Supply says Equipment Zone look great, Terry. And they qualified the 1600 as half the resolution of the 3200. So,
but somebody out there is saying, but it's better.
Absolutely. And then one last thing here. Doug said, we missed you, Aaron, at Impressions. Doug, if that, and I appreciate that I missed you guys too, for sure. Tell Impressions that, please. Okay. I need you guys to tell Impressions that. Okay. All right.
This is like when people say, hey, go and vote for me for Two Regular Guys best guest.
Yeah, exactly. It's exactly what I just said there. So go tell Impressions you missed me out there, and we'll see what happens. All right, Terry. Well, this has been a great show. We want to thank Cris and Greg for joining us today. Again, make sure you go check them out. And I can connect you with Greg directly. I didn't bring this up while we had him, Terry, but Greg, stepped up in a big way when I was working with Skills USA. And so I really appreciate him. He's brand new to the industry, and you can tell he just loves it, embraces it. 4 years in, not as brand new anymore, but really appreciate the fact that
it was
brand new into it,
present company.
yeah, absolutely. So appreciate him and their time today. Great information, and good job, Terry.
All right. Hey, we, as always, even though Eric's not with us today, we always want to thank Eric for everything he does for us, and get well, buddy.
Absolutely, man. Hopefully he puts up behind him quickly. Poor guy always kind of burns it at both ends, so that probably doesn't help him. So hopefully he's getting some much needed rest here. And we appreciate him. Terry, as you mentioned, next week we are going to have a key player in the merger rumors joining us at the top of the show. And then you and I are going to talk about a little bit more about potential impact and what we think, but also, like I said, I want to hear from the regulators. And so make sure you tune in next Friday, same time as always.
All right. Until then, I'm Terry Combs. He's Aaron Montgomery.
And that was the Two Regular Guys.
Here we go. We're out.
Awesome.
Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of Two Regular Guys. We're here because of listeners like you, and we're so grateful to have you on this journey with us. For more valuable insight, be sure to visit our website, 2regularguys.com, and join the conversation on our Facebook page. And hey, if you or someone you know has expertise, a unique perspective, or a story worth sharing, we'd love to have them as a guest on the show. Just reach out. Remember, success in this industry isn't just about the equipment you own or the techniques you've mastered. It's about the mindset you bring and the connections you build. Keep learning, stay curious, and don't be afraid to think differently. Keep pressing on, and we'll catch you on the next episode of the Two Regular Guys.